Hey there guys, I'm just a guy having fun out at the range. Still working on recovering some of my skills that I've lost since an elbow injury and a few months of not shooting. In this particular video I wanted to work through some malfunction drills. This is something that I can do dry, but it is fun to do some of those malfunction drills live fire as well and just see kind of where I'm at. See how I'm doing, both with strength, with muscle memory, as well as with just my own mental, what can I remember about how I'm supposed to handle certain malfunctions, etc. So if you're not familiar with malfunctions, this will be a good video for you to review with, but we'll see where I'm at. All right, so for malfunction clearing, what I'm going to try and do is work through a dry practice run of it, and then we'll try and do it live fire as well. And we'll just see how it goes. So the first malfunction is a type 1 malfunction. A type 1 malfunction is when either there is empty brass in the chamber or nothing in the chamber, so you get a click and no bang is essentially what it is. So if I point in, that hurts, come on, that's new. Yeah, I've done too much with my elbow today. Pushing is no longer an option. Okay, so when you're on target, a type 1 is indicated by a click with no bang, okay? Either because we had a failure to eject or a failure to feed, or we ran it empty and it didn't lock back on that last round. We fix it with a tap, a rack flip, and back on target, back on trigger, decide whether or not to shoot. Okay. So I'm going to do it a couple times dry. Point in, click, tap, rack flip, back on target, click, tap, rack flip, back on target. And the last one I'll decide not to shoot there. So let's try it live. And the way that we set up for practicing a type 1 live is we make sure that we've got an empty chamber, put in an inserted magazine or loaded magazine. Goodness, insert a loaded magazine. Words are hard. Once that magazine is in place, we don't rack the slide because that would actually put something in. So what this is simulating is if the magazine wasn't seated all the way and we did run the slide and it didn't pick up that next round, that's essentially the condition that the firearm would be in. So I'm going to go ahead and point in. I get a click, no bang, tap, rack flip, back to the target. Oh, and looky there. I think I'm limp wristing because that is a type 2 malfunction, which is what we're going to do next anyway. Dead trigger, look and move, tap, rack flip, back on target. It's always comforting to know that you did your job because the gun goes bang at the end of the exercise, which is of course the goal of malfunction clearing. I've got an empty chamber now. I just loaded it. Alright, empty chamber, magazine in, so this would be a type 1. On target, there is no bang, so that's the malfunction. Tap, rack, and then we can check by popping off around. Okay. Now, obviously, you don't want to check your work that way. Normally, I'm saying that somewhat in jest, but it is the proof that you've done the malfunction clearing correctly if the gun fires. And that's essentially what we're trying to go. We're trying to go from a gun that doesn't fire to a gun that does fire. So now it does. Let me empty this guy out again. In, don't rack. Click, tap, rack. Oh, I let that one go a little too soon. All right. So it looks like type 1s are still okay. My elbow is not complaining too much about type 1s. Type 2s are very similar, so we can set up for a type 2. Let's see. Close the slide first. So setting up for a type 2, I'm going to take a round of ammunition or an empty case if you're willing to risk putting something dirty in your firearm. And I'm going to capture that in the side here just like this. Okay? This simulates that type 2 malfunction of brass getting caught in the ejection port. Now I've got a loaded magazine in, and in a real world fight, if you have a Glock trigger or something that has a trigger safety, you'll have to trip that in order to get that trigger to the rear, because this is essentially what it's going to end up being like in a real world situation, just a dead trigger. Right? So nothing in the trigger, there's no click, there's no movement, it's just a dead trigger. So dead trigger, not enough information because there's several different things that could cause that. I'm going to look and move off the line of attack. I see that there is brass high in the ejection port. Point back down range, seat the magazine, rack flip, back on target. Hey, we did our job correctly. Okay. So let's go ahead, set that up again. Go ahead and put this guy right here. So the way that I'm doing that, I don't know if you guys can see this at all or not. Taking that round, I'm putting it in the back of the ejection port against the back part of the chamber, and slowly letting that forward just so that it'll catch that. Kind of a tricky thing, but if you do it enough times and it's there. Loaded magazine in, tripping the trigger so that it's like it would normally be. There it is, nothing there. Look and move, tap, rack, flip. I'm going slow. Definitely noticing that I'm going slow. Not sure if that's my comfort level or what. Let's try it a little faster. Less talking through it. It's a simple solution, really. It shouldn't need a lot of thought. All right, ready? Yeah, I still got it. Yeah, simple thing like that. Not terribly difficult to just add a little bit of speed to it. But yeah, okay, type 2's not too bad. Type 3's, these are going to be our worst case scenario. A failure to eject followed by a feedway stoppage. I said I was going to do all these dry. I'm not doing any of these ones dry. But essentially, there's a round in the chamber, and again, I'm putting a loaded round in rather than an empty case for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I don't want to pick up a dirty case and put it in. And number two, the dirty cases stick more. The unfired bullet actually will come out of that chamber a little bit easier. And because the round behind is not making contact with the primer, there's not a huge risk of causing a detonation. So there's a round in the chamber, inserted a magazine, and then I drop the slide. So the slide is putting pressure on the next round in the magazine, trying to strip it off and put it into the chamber, but it can't get in there because obviously there's a round already in the chamber in the way. So how do we fix a type 3? We get a dead trigger, not enough information. We look, we see brass low in the ejection port. Right. And so in order to do this, first I need to relieve the pressure on the magazine. So I'm going to lock the slide to the rear. I'm going to strip the magazine out and retain it in my pinky finger there. And you'll notice that the round that was in the chamber has already fallen out. That's kind of nice. Then I can rack. If there was a stuck piece of brass in there, 3 racks on the slide. If it's going to come out, it's going to come out in those 3 racks. Then we go ahead and insert the magazine, rack the slide, back on target, decide whether or not to shoot, and I'm going to go ahead and not shoot for this one. And then we can set that up all over again. And try and do it a little bit faster. Yeah, loaded round in the chamber, magazine in, drop the slide on the round, trip the trigger, back on target, and dead trigger, look and move, lock. Strip and retain, rack, insert rack, back on target, and we're good to go. Okay, the muscle memory is there, the mental memory is there, the physical capability is a little slow. Okay, let's try it again a little bit faster this time. In. Ooh, type 2. Type 3. Yeah, that one. Forgot about that one. There it is. All right, so we've gone through our type 1, 2, 3 malfunctions. Our last malfunction is actually more of a personal malfunction of running your gun dry. So an emergency reload. Now we can set up for an emergency reload. Empty magazine goes in and it locks back on that last round. Again, we're going to trip our trigger if you have a trigger safety device. And the solution to this, get that dead trigger. Look, you're going to see a follower rather than brass, so that'll be black or orange. We're going to go ahead and grab a new magazine, eject the old magazine, put the new magazine in. We don't care about the old magazine, so it can just fall to the ground. I'm going to step away from the table a little bit so that it can fall to the ground. Right? I have each of these magazines set up with just one round, so that way it will set me up for a emergency reload right away on the next shot. Let's see what that'll look like. All right, dead trigger, point in, on target, and dead trigger. Look, nothing in the ejection port, new magazine. I'm going to go ahead and drop that mag, and one of the things that I like to do is as soon as I feel that magazine leaving the firearm, I go ahead and move my thumb up onto the slide release so that as this magazine is coming in, I can slam those two together. And I should be loaded. Oh, slammed it too soon. Oh, I missed. All right, we're set right back up for an emergency reload. And nothing. Grab magazine, insert. There we go. And set up for an emergency reload, but now I don't have anything on my belt to reload with. Let's set that up. Let's do that again. That was a little shaky. Let's try that again. All right. So I've got two magazines on my belt, each with one round apiece. Empty magazine going in the firearm. Dead trigger is what I'm going to end up having. So I'm on target. Dead trigger. Look and move. In. Back on target. Dead trigger. Sorry, I was missing too many things. I really wanted to hit that last one there. There we go. Alright, well this one's gone a little bit long, sorry for that, but I do think it's fair to say that I still have all the head knowledge of what I need to do, and the body's mostly able to do it, but it's definitely not as refined as it would have been 6 months ago. I am noticing that part of my... did you guys see that flinch? That was a live round. Light strike on that. Yeah, apparently. Alright, I'm done for right now. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting there. Still have some of the head knowledge, but a lot of the physical capabilities are still needing to come back. Still flinching like crazy on all those shots, definitely blinking hard, but we are getting there. I haven't lost as much as I thought I had, which is a good thing, but it's still hard to get back into that. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys hopefully in the next video. Have a great day.